The unmasking of malevolence, 7 Stoic-inspired signs of evil exposed. The elusive nature of evil and the Stoic approach. Evil, a concept as ancient as humanity itself, continues to defy precise definition. Despite countless attempts to categorize, dissect, and understand it, evil remains a nebulous and often elusive force. It's a shadow that clings to the edges of our understanding, a darkness that seems to shift and morph with each attempt to grasp it. We, as humans, naturally seek to categorize and comprehend everything that surrounds us. We crave order and understanding, but evil stubbornly resists these efforts. It is a multifaceted phenomenon, manifesting in countless forms, from petty cruelty to unimaginable atrocities. It thrives in the shadows, exploiting vulnerabilities and preying on the innocent. Its presence can be felt even when it remains unspoken, a chilling undercurrent that disrupts the harmony of human interaction. It is the deliberate infliction of suffering, the systematic destruction of hope, and the erosion of the very foundations of morality. But what is it, really? Is it simply the absence of good? Is it a conscious choice, a deliberate act of rebellion against moral order? Is it a psychological aberration, a manifestation of deep-seated trauma and unresolved conflict? These questions have plagued philosophers, theologians, and psychologists for centuries, and no single answer has ever fully satisfied the human quest for understanding. Stoic philosophy, with its emphasis on reason, virtue, and acceptance, provides a particularly compelling framework for navigating the complexities of evil. Stoicism encourages us to understand human nature, to accept the things we cannot change, and to focus our energy on cultivating inner virtue and resilience. However, even within the seemingly rational and ordered world of Stoicism, the recognition of evil often emerges more powerfully through instinct and intuition than through meticulous analysis. While definitions may falter, the visceral experience of encountering evil often leaves an indelible mark. The heart, it seems, possesses an uncanny ability to detect malevolence, often long before the mind has a chance to dissect and analyze the situation. It is a primal alarm system, warning us of danger lurking beneath the surface. This inherent human capacity to sense evil is both a blessing and a curse. It can protect us from harm, alerting us to potentially dangerous situations and individuals. But it can also be misleading, leading to unfounded suspicions and misjudgments. Learning to discern genuine evil from mere human imperfection is a crucial skill, one that requires both careful observation and a deep understanding of human psychology. We must strive to balance our intuitive sense of danger with a rational assessment of the available evidence, avoiding the pitfalls of both naive trust and unwarranted paranoia. What makes the presence of evil even more unsettling is its ability to infiltrate the very spaces we consider safe and sacred. It does not confine itself to the dark alleys and unfamiliar territories of our world. Instead, it can be found lurking in the most unexpected places, in schools, where children should be nurtured and protected, in churches, temples, and other places of worship, where solace and spiritual guidance should be readily available, and even within the walls of our own homes, among our closest friends and family members. This insidious nature of evil makes it all the more difficult to detect and combat. It hides in plain sight, masked by a seemingly normal exterior, often deceiving those who are closest to it. It is a wolf in sheep's clothing, patiently waiting for the opportune moment to strike. The challenge, therefore, lies not only in understanding the abstract concept of evil, but also in recognizing its subtle manifestations in the real world. It requires a keen awareness of human behavior, an understanding of psychological manipulation, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. It demands that we challenge our assumptions, question our perceptions, and cultivate a critical eye that can penetrate the facade of normalcy and reveal the darkness that lies beneath. We must be vigilant, discerning, and courageous in our pursuit of truth, always remembering that the first step in combating evil is to recognize its presence. It's important to remember that terms like immoral or cruel often fall short, carrying different connotations for each individual. Evil transcends simple definitions, it resonates on a deeper, almost primal level. This essay delves into 7 distinct signs that may indicate an individual's malevolent nature, particularly when they become aware that their true character has been exposed. Drawing upon the wisdom of Stoic philosophy, we will analyze these signs to provide a framework for understanding and preparing to confront them with calmness, resolve, and a commitment to maintaining our own inner virtue. By understanding these signs, we can better equip ourselves to navigate the complexities of human interaction, protect ourselves from harm, and contribute to a more virtuous and just world. The goal is not to foster fear or suspicion, but rather to cultivate awareness, resilience, and a deep commitment to truth and integrity. This is a journey of self-discovery, a quest for wisdom, and a call to action, urging us to confront the darkness within ourselves and within the world around us. Sign 1, the recasting of reputation, a calculated image makeover. One of the most telling signs that a person is attempting to conceal a malevolent nature is a sudden and dramatic shift in their public persona. This isn't simply a matter of trying to improve oneself or correct past mistakes. It is a deliberate and calculated effort to manipulate perception, to create a false narrative that obscures the truth. It's a carefully constructed facade designed to deceive and disarm. Imagine encountering someone who has a history of deceitful behavior, someone who has repeatedly betrayed trust and exploited others. Now imagine that this person, upon realizing that you have seen through their facade, suddenly adopts a completely different approach. They become overly solicitous, showering you with compliments and offering unsolicited assistance. They speak of their past mistakes with a carefully rehearsed remorse, blaming circumstances or other people for their actions. They present themselves as a reformed character, eager to prove their newfound virtue. This is the essence of the reputation recast. The motivation behind this behavior is not genuine remorse or a desire for self-improvement. Instead, it is a strategic maneuver designed to regain control, to neutralize the threat of exposure, and to continue their manipulative behavior undetected. They understand the power of perception, the way in which a carefully crafted image can influence people's opinions and actions. They know that if they can successfully recast their reputation, they can evade accountability and continue to exploit others without fear of reprisal. It's a cynical game of deception, where appearances are valued above truth and manipulation is the ultimate goal. Evil people are often masters of manipulation, skilled at exploiting others to achieve their own selfish goals. They hoard what they want, leaving those around them feeling used, lost, and broken. They don't just use trivial tricks, they are extremely cunning in controlling how others perceive them. When they realize you've uncovered their true nature, their first instinct is not to confront the truth or admit their wrongdoings. Instead, they find a way to change how you see them. They understand the power of reputation and social perception, so they work hard to rebuild their image in a newer, more sophisticated way. This is not about genuine self-reflection or a desire for atonement, it is a calculated act of self-preservation, a desperate attempt to maintain their grip on power and control. Consider the example of a colleague at work who is known for backstabbing and unethical behavior. This person routinely takes credit for others' work, spreads malicious rumors, and sabotages projects to advance their own career. However, once they realize that you have witnessed their behavior and understand their true character, they suddenly undergo a dramatic transformation. They begin to shower you with praise, offering unsolicited assistance and expressing admiration for your work. They confide in you about their past struggles, portraying themselves as a victim of circumstance and seeking your sympathy. They might start talking about how they've changed, about the difficulties they've faced, and how they've now become a completely different person. They emphasize their newfound commitment to ethical behavior, denouncing those who engage in the very actions they themselves have been perpetrating. All of this is a calculated performance, a carefully constructed charade designed to manipulate your perception and regain your trust. The danger in this scenario lies in the insidious nature of manipulation. The colleague's seemingly genuine remorse and newfound virtue may be convincing, leading you to question your own perceptions and doubt your initial assessment of their character. You might begin to rationalize their past behavior, attributing it to external factors or excusing it as a youthful indiscretion. You might even feel guilty for judging them harshly, believing that everyone deserves a second chance. This is precisely the trap that the manipulator has set for you. By appealing to your sense of empathy and fairness, they are able to disarm you, making you more vulnerable to their future exploitation. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most prominent philosophers of Stoicism, astutely observed, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." This profound statement underscores the power of perception and the importance of cultivating virtuous thoughts. Evil people understand this principle implicitly. If they can successfully alter your thoughts about them, they can effectively control not only how you treat them but also how you perceive the truth. The attempt to change their reputation is a strategic maneuver designed to evade responsibility and continue their negative influence without detection. They are masters of disguise, adept at concealing their true intentions behind a mask of sincerity and virtue. This attempt to recast their reputation is not a sign of genuine change, but rather a sophisticated effort to conceal their malevolence and continue their manipulative game. It is a form of psychological warfare, designed to disorient and undermine their targets. By presenting a new and improved version of themselves, they seek to erase their past transgressions and create a climate of doubt and confusion. Their goal is to make you question your own judgment, to erode your confidence in your ability to discern truth from falsehood. A specific example can be seen at work or in personal life. You may have worked with a colleague known for backstabbing and cheating at work. But once they know you've uncovered this, they immediately change their approach. They might start talking about how they've changed, about the difficulties they've faced, and how they've now become a completely different person. All of this is a lie, a thin veil hiding their true nature, designed to make you doubt your initial understanding. Evil people don't just seek to protect their image, they want you to feel that you've misunderstood them. When they present a new story, a new reputation, it's not the truth but just a way to lure you into confusion, making you start doubting yourself. Your initial confidence about their nature gradually erodes, and before you realize it, you may have fallen into their trap, believing a fictional story they've cleverly constructed. This doesn't just make you feel confused, it also weakens your ability to judge and resist. They aim to sow seeds of doubt in your mind, making you question your own judgment and undermining your ability to resist their manipulations. They seek to create a climate of uncertainty, where truth becomes subjective and reality becomes malleable. In such situations, Stoic philosophy advises us to keep a clear mind, focus on the truth, and not let fleeting emotions distract us. It calls us to cultivate inner resilience, to resist the temptation to succumb to emotional manipulation, and to remain grounded in reason and virtue. Therefore, when faced with people trying to change their reputation, remember that this is not a sign of real change but a sophisticated effort to conceal their evil and continue their manipulative game. Do not be swayed by superficial charm or fleeting expressions of remorse. Instead, focus on the underlying patterns of behavior, the consistency of their actions, and the authenticity of their intentions. Trust your instincts, but temper them with reason and discernment. And above all, remember that true virtue is not a performance, but a deeply ingrained character trait that manifests consistently in all aspects of life. The wolf may try to disguise itself in sheep's clothing, but a discerning eye will always recognize the true nature of the beast. Sign 2, the emission of strange vibrations, an unsettling energy shift. Beyond the realm of observable behavior and calculated deception, there exists a more subtle and intuitive way to detect the presence of evil, the emission of strange vibrations. This refers to the emotions, senses, and energy that we receive from others, a subtle but powerful undercurrent of feeling that can often betray their true intentions. Everything around us is energy, including our bodies. When we experience a specific emotion or energy, it is when we unconsciously absorb frequencies from our interactions with others' energy fields. This is a complex and often debated concept, but the idea that energy and vibrations can strongly influence how we perceive and understand the world around us has clear scientific backing. These vibrations are particularly evident in our relationships with others, especially when we face individuals with malicious intent. Their energy often becomes more noticeable and uncomfortable once they realize that we have recognized their true nature. This isn't just about outward behavior but also about inner perception. It's a feeling of unease, a sense that something is fundamentally wrong, even when there is no concrete evidence to support that feeling. It's a whisper of intuition, a warning signal from our subconscious that alerts us to potential danger. The vibrations, the negative energy they project when trying to maintain control, invade privacy and create a sense of insecurity. It's as if their very presence pollutes the atmosphere, leaving a lingering sense of discomfort and unease. When malicious individuals know you've seen through their toxic behavior, they start to change their attitude and act strangely. One of the first things you'll notice is a shift in how you feel about them, strange vibrations that you can't ignore. Their behavior no longer feels natural, it seems calculated. These individuals will try to make your life more difficult, especially if they hold power or are in a higher position than you in a work or social relationship. This strange vibration is not just a feeling of insecurity but a sign that they are attempting to create an uncomfortable space where you feel threatened or controlled. They might begin invading your privacy, asking unnecessary questions, or excessively monitoring your behavior. This stems from their lack of understanding of boundaries. When they feel their power is being challenged, they will go to great lengths to re-establish control, regardless of your feelings. It's a desperate attempt to regain dominance, to reassert their authority and silence any dissent. This phenomenon can be explained through the lens of Stoic philosophy by considering the principle of mastering emotions and maintaining composure in difficult situations. The philosopher Epictetus famously said, "People are disturbed not by things, but by the view they take of them." This profound statement highlights the importance of controlling our perceptions and reactions to external events. When you sense strange vibrations from others, it's important not to let these feelings invade your mind and weaken your calm. Recognize their behavior as defensive reactions rooted in their fear of losing control or having their true nature exposed. By maintaining calmness and mindfulness, you won't be drawn into their schemes. On the contrary, use this feeling as a tool to see through the situation and avoid unnecessary conflicts. Toxic individuals often have no limits in trying to control you, but you always have the power to choose how to respond. Instead of retaliating or feeling pressured, remember that calmness and wisdom are the most powerful weapons you can use to handle this situation. Ask yourself, do these strange feelings and negative vibrations truly affect you, or are they just a test of your mental resilience? Bad people may do everything they can to manipulate a situation, but you are the one who decides how to perceive and act in every circumstance. Everything that happens externally is merely material for us to strengthen our inner selves. Therefore, in any situation, keeping your mind still and undisturbed is the key to overcoming every challenge. It is important to note that experiencing these strange vibrations doesn't necessarily mean that the person is inherently evil. It could simply be a sign that they are experiencing inner turmoil, that they are struggling with their own demons. However, when these vibrations are accompanied by other signs of malevolence, such as manipulation, deception, and a lack of empathy, it becomes a more reliable indicator of a darker nature. It is also important to be mindful of our own biases and prejudices. We must avoid the temptation to jump to conclusions or to judge others based on superficial impressions. Instead, we must strive to cultivate a balanced and objective perspective, allowing us to discern truth from falsehood and to respond with wisdom and compassion. Ultimately, the ability to sense these strange vibrations is a valuable tool in navigating the complexities of human interaction. It allows us to protect ourselves from harm, to identify those who may pose a threat to our well-being, and to cultivate relationships based on trust and authenticity. It's a silent language of feeling, a subtle communication that transcends words and actions, revealing the hidden truths that lie beneath the surface. By honing our intuitive senses and cultivating a deeper understanding of human psychology, we can become more attuned to these vibrations and better equipped to navigate the complexities of the human experience. Have you ever experienced a similar situation where someone made you feel strange vibrations and made your life harder? How did you deal with those feelings? Sign 3, Lies upon lies, the tangled web of deceit. The propensity to lie is a universal human trait. Most people, at some point in their lives, will engage in some form of deception, whether it is a harmless white lie or a more elaborate fabrication. However, the crucial distinction lies in the motivation behind the lie and the frequency with which it is employed. For the truly malevolent individual, lying is not merely an occasional lapse in judgment or a means of avoiding social awkwardness. It is a deliberate and systematic strategy for manipulating others, concealing their true intentions, and achieving their selfish goals. And when their lies are exposed, their response is not contrition or a desire for reconciliation. Instead, they resort to further layers of deception, constructing a tangled web of lies upon lies in a desperate attempt to maintain their facade of innocence. A lie is like a sophisticated web that the one who weaves it cannot escape from. Each time a lie is told, a new thread is added, gradually creating a complex and intricate structure in which the weaver may also become trapped. Wicked people, once they know the truth has been revealed, do not try to untangle this web. Instead, they continue to spin new threads of deceit, hoping that they will cover up all traces of the truth. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." When someone tries to defend their lies, they lock themselves into a vicious cycle of deception and ignorance, no longer able to see the light of truth. The act of lying becomes a self-perpetuating cycle, trapping them in a prison of their own making. In everyday life, we all may encounter lies, and sometimes even each of us does not tell the truth. According to research, on average, a person lies once or twice a day. These lies are sometimes harmless, such as trying to maintain a relationship by avoiding hurtful truths. In fact, one study has shown that 59% of adults lie at least once and up to 5 times a day. Notably, men tend to lie more often than women. However, not all lies are the same. There are small lies, like avoiding negative comments about someone's hairstyle, but there are also more serious lies, such as hiding an affair or other major secrets. It is the intent behind the lie that matters. A lie told to protect someone's feelings is vastly different from a lie told to manipulate or exploit them. What distinguishes the wicked, however, lies in the nature of the lies they create. Unlike lies told to protect others' feelings or to maintain relationships, these individuals lie to protect themselves, to cover up their wrongdoings. When a lie is discovered, instead of facing the truth, they choose to deny it and continue constructing more stories to justify the initial lie. They create an endless loop, with each new lie being a futile attempt to protect something they know can no longer be concealed. This not only reflects dishonesty but also signals a mentality that is fearful and weak in the face of truth. These people, instead of admitting their mistakes and seeking to make amends, choose the dangerous path of deceit. It is a betrayal not only of those who trust them but also of themselves. Deep down, they know that each new lie only distances them further from the truth and sinks them deeper into a pit of deceit. This undermines trust and relationships, making the betrayal harder to forgive. The wicked cannot stop, they are trapped in their own lies, with no escape but to face the truth, something they dare not do. Even when caught, they continue to lie, believing that new lies can salvage the situation. It is difficult to stay calm when a loved one is hiding the truth from you, whether it's a small or big lie, because trust has been broken. Once lost, it is hard to rebuild. For the wicked, breaking trust is not accidental but a strategy, a method of protecting their personal interests, regardless of the consequences. Such actions are not only morally wrong but also demonstrate irresponsibility toward the feelings of others. Wicked individuals often lack the ability to appreciate and respect the value of truth because they are used to manipulating reality to their advantage. Truth is not something they revere but merely a tool they can bend to serve their purposes. This makes them untrustworthy, and once trust is destroyed, it is difficult to restore. They are so deeply entrenched in their own web of deceit that they have lost sight of the value of honesty and integrity. They have become prisoners of their own lies, unable to escape the consequences of their actions. The constant need to fabricate and conceal creates a tremendous amount of psychological stress. The liar must maintain a meticulous record of their falsehoods, ensuring that their stories remain consistent and that they do not contradict themselves. This requires a significant amount of mental energy and can lead to anxiety, paranoia, and a general sense of unease. They live in constant fear of being exposed, knowing that their house of cards could collapse at any moment. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote to this cycle of deceit. The Stoic emphasis on virtue, integrity, and living in accordance with nature provides a framework for cultivating honesty and authenticity. A Stoic would recognize that lying is a violation of one's own moral principles and a betrayal of the trust that others have placed in them. They would strive to live in accordance with truth, even when it is difficult or uncomfortable, knowing that honesty is the foundation of a virtuous life. Moreover, Stoicism teaches us to accept the consequences of our actions, to take responsibility for our mistakes, and to learn from our failures. A Stoic would not attempt to conceal their wrongdoings or to shift blame onto others. Instead, they would acknowledge their errors, make amends where possible, and strive to do better in the future. This requires courage, humility, and a commitment to personal growth. It is a path of self-improvement, leading to greater wisdom, resilience, and inner peace. By embracing the principles of Stoicism, we can break free from the cycle of deceit and cultivate a life of honesty, integrity, and authenticity. We can become more trustworthy individuals, capable of building strong and meaningful relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. And when we encounter those who are trapped in their own web of lies, we can respond with compassion and understanding, recognizing that they are ultimately victims of their own choices. But we must also protect ourselves from their manipulations, setting clear boundaries and refusing to be drawn into their deceitful games. Sign 4, Conditional Availability, the Fairweather Friend Exposed. Authentic relationships are built on mutual support, reciprocity, and a genuine concern for the well-being of others. They are characterized by a consistent presence, a willingness to offer help and encouragement, and a commitment to weathering the storms of life together. However, for the malevolent individual, relationships are merely transactional. They are a means to an end, a tool to be used and discarded when they are no longer deemed useful. This is revealed in their conditional availability. They only come around when they need something, disappearing the moment their self-serving agenda is fulfilled. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, famously urged us to waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. B1. This quote encapsulates the Stoic emphasis on action and the importance of living a virtuous life. It reminds us that true character is revealed not by words but by deeds, by the consistency of our actions and the genuineness of our intentions. When dealing with toxic people, this principle becomes particularly relevant. Their words may be charming and persuasive, but their actions will ultimately betray their true nature. As you recognize their true selves, you can identify the lack of investment and that they only show up when they have something to gain, especially once they realize they've uncovered their real selves. They no longer play the role of sincere companions but rather come to you when they need something and disappear when you need them most. Before discovering their true character, they may seem like reliable allies. They are always present when needed and show care and concern. However, as you begin to see the darker side of their personality, everything changes. They only appear when they have personal interests to pursue and vanish the moment there's no longer any benefit. This behavior resembles that of opportunists. They never invest genuinely in relationships but are always calculating what they can get from you. Once there's no more to gain, they disappear, showing no regard for your feelings or needs. They are like parasites, feeding off the energy and resources of others, leaving them depleted and vulnerable. For these individuals, reappearing after you've resolved your issues is a common tactic. After you've picked yourself up following a difficult time, they return with apologies, excuses, and the hope that you'll easily forgive them. They take advantage of your kindness and forgiving nature to resume the relationship as if nothing had ever happened. If you refuse, they stop showing up regularly unless they need something from you again. Such people never truly change. They don't genuinely care about you, they only care about what they can take from the relationship. They see you as a resource to be exploited, not as a person to be valued and respected. The story of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus provides a poignant example of how people can be exploited by those who are fake and only appear when they need help. As a follower of the philosophy of self-control and patience, Epictetus had many students who came to learn from him. Among them was one student who appeared extremely loyal and devoted. Whenever he needed advice or help with personal issues, this student would often seek out Epictetus and receive useful guidance. However, when Epictetus needed help in a difficult situation, a practical lesson he wanted the student to walk with him through, that student vanished. Once the challenging situation had passed and Epictetus had overcome it on his own, the student reappeared with excuses, pretending as if they had never been absent or irresponsible. Epictetus, with his wisdom, understood clearly that this student didn't truly care for him but only sought him out when there was a personal benefit. He did not let these meaningless excuses and fake behavior disturb his inner peace. This story provides a valuable lesson. Recognizing the true nature of others and knowing when our kindness is being exploited is essential to protect our inner peace. This does not mean that we should become cynical or distrustful of everyone we meet. But it does mean that we should be discerning, paying attention to the patterns of behavior and the motivations behind people's actions. Stoic philosophy advises us not to let such individuals affect our lives and mental well-being. They do not come to us with sincere hearts but only with calculation. A wise person recognizes this and does not allow their kindness to be taken advantage of. Rather than feeling hurt by their disappearance, view it as an opportunity to free yourself from unhealthy relationships. By detaching ourselves from these transactional relationships, we can create space for more genuine and fulfilling connections. We can invest our time and energy in those who truly value us, who are there for us in both good times and bad, and who offer their support without expectation of reward. Remember the teachings of Marcus Aurelius: be good and act according to your philosophy, no matter how others behave. This helps us maintain inner peace and avoid being caught in others' emotional games. When they realize you've seen through their nature, they will appear less frequently in your life, but there's no need to feel regret or anger because their absence is a gift, allowing you to focus on more genuine relationships. No one can exploit your kindness indefinitely if you protect yourself with wisdom and clarity. Instead of continuing to forgive and accept these people, focus on building healthy, sincere relationships that offer genuine support and long-term growth. The fair-weather friend is a common figure in life, someone who is quick to offer help when it benefits them but disappears when you are in need. Recognizing this pattern of behavior is crucial for protecting our emotional well-being and cultivating healthy relationships. By setting clear boundaries, detaching ourselves from transactional relationships, and focusing on building genuine connections, we can create a more supportive and fulfilling life. Sign 5, the diminishment game, undermining your confidence and self-worth. One of the most insidious tactics employed by malevolent individuals is the systematic undermining of their victims' confidence and self-worth. This is a subtle and insidious form of abuse, often disguised as constructive criticism or playful teasing. The goal is to erode the victim's sense of self-esteem, making them more dependent on the abuser and more vulnerable to their manipulations. It's a calculated strategy to disempower and control. A primary tactic that narcissists and malicious individuals often use to achieve their goals is to make others feel inferior and foolish. Imagine opening up about an issue to someone you love only to hear responses like, "Oh, you should have seen that coming," or "Why did you do that?" These seemingly harmless remarks make you feel heavy and pained. You expect empathy, but instead, you're overwhelmed with shame, blaming yourself for not seeing something obvious. In that moment, they have achieved their goal, making you feel stupid, isolated, and small. They seek to create an imbalance of power, positioning themselves as superior and knowledgeable while relegating their victims to a state of perpetual inadequacy. This is how malicious individuals find ways to belittle you, causing you to doubt your abilities and making it easier to manipulate and control you. They target your insecurities, exploiting your vulnerabilities and amplifying your fears. They may criticize your appearance, your intelligence, your abilities, or your choices. They may make sarcastic remarks, dismiss your opinions, or invalidate your feelings. Their goal is to make you feel inadequate, unworthy, and incapable of making sound decisions. Stoics believe that all actions stem from reason and virtue. Thus, those who intentionally hurt others through mockery and mental abuse not only demonstrate a lack of virtue but also violate the Stoic principle of living in accordance with nature. They create situations where you're constantly questioning yourself, wondering if you truly understand life, relationships, or even yourself. These words and actions are not just casual insults, they are part of a meticulous, deliberate strategy. They are carefully crafted to inflict maximum damage, to chip away at your self-esteem and leave you feeling vulnerable and insecure. The most frightening aspect is when you start doubting yourself. You become more vulnerable, and this is exactly the trap that malicious individuals want you to fall into. When you feel weak, you're more likely to seek validation from the very person who hurt you. For them, it's a way to re-establish control. They do this not because they value the relationship but because they want you to remain within their sphere of influence, where they can continue manipulating you from where they left off. This dependency creates a cycle of abuse, where the victim becomes increasingly reliant on the abuser for validation and support, further reinforcing their power and control. The insidious nature of this tactic lies in its subtlety. The abuser may present their criticisms as helpful advice or tough love, making it difficult for the victim to recognize the manipulative intent behind their words. They may also gaslight their victims, denying or minimizing the abuse and making them question their own sanity. This can lead to a state of confusion and self-doubt, where the victim is no longer able to trust their own perceptions or judgments. How would Stoic philosophy, which focuses on controlling one's own reactions, view this situation? When faced with insulting words or attempts to make you feel foolish, a Stoic would not allow themselves to be drawn into the mental game. Instead, they would remind themselves that their true value doesn't come from others' opinions but from inner understanding and self-respect. They would recognize that the abuser's words are a reflection of their own insecurities and flaws, not a true assessment of the victim's worth. A Stoic might ask, why should I allow myself to be diminished by the meaningless words of someone who lacks kindness? Rather than reacting with anger or hurt, they would step back and assess the situation from a rational distance, like a neutral observer. It is this calmness and unshakable demeanor that becomes the most powerful weapon against toxic individuals. They may try to make you feel foolish, but they only succeed if you accept and believe it. They may try to provoke you, but they can only succeed if you allow yourself to be provoked. Stoicism advises us to focus on what we can control, and what we can always control is our response to others' behavior. Malicious individuals want you to react emotionally, to lose your composure. But a strong Stoic spirit will not allow that to happen. Moreover, their attempt to make you feel foolish is not just a form of punishment, it is a way to distance you from your confidence and inner strength. When you believe you're inadequate, you're more likely to become dependent on them, seeking their approval. But the truth is, this dependence only robs you of autonomy and real happiness. In conclusion, one of the most subtle tactics that malicious individuals use once they know you have recognized their nature is making you feel stupid. But Stoic philosophy teaches us that our worth is not dependent on what others think or say but on how we face the world. Remember, you cannot control others' actions, but you can fully control how you react and think. That is the key to maintaining your inner strength even when faced with those who try to bring you down. Sign 6, Feigned ignorance, denying responsibility and distorting reality. Accountability is a cornerstone of healthy relationships and a functioning society. It requires us to take ownership of our actions, to acknowledge the impact they have on others, and to make amends for any harm we may have caused. However, for the malevolent individual, accountability is anathema. They are unwilling to accept responsibility for their actions, preferring to deflect blame, minimize their involvement, or feign ignorance altogether. This feigned ignorance is not merely a matter of avoiding punishment, it is a deliberate strategy for distorting reality and manipulating others' perceptions. Have you ever wondered how you can recognize someone who is deliberately hiding their true nature? This is an important question, because in life, not everyone around us is always clear about who they truly are. When a bad person is exposed, they often choose a cunning strategy to cope, pretending they have no idea about the consequences their actions have caused. They play the victim or act naive, expressing surprise at what has happened as if they were entirely unaware of the harm they've inflicted on others. It's a performance of innocence, a calculated attempt to deceive and disarm. According to Stoic philosophy, a person's nature is judged not only by their actions but also by how they react when placed in difficult situations. Epictetus, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, once said, "People are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." In this case, bad people exploit the interpretation and emotions of others, turning their wrongdoings into a psychological game full of deceit. They are masters of manipulation, skilled at exploiting others' emotions and distorting reality to their advantage. When exposed, these individuals often act as if they were unaware that their actions caused harm. This is not merely an avoidance of responsibility but a form of manipulation. They create a false pretense to make you doubt your own feelings and experiences. For example, they might sarcastically ask, "Why didn't you say earlier that you were hurt?" This is their way of shifting the blame onto you, even though it's clear they were the ones at fault. They attempt to rewrite history, casting themselves as innocent bystanders and their victims as overly sensitive or irrational. When confronted with such behavior, you may feel confused and angry. These bad individuals not only deny responsibility but also try to erase the truth that you courageously confronted. Even if you've expressed your feelings directly multiple times, they will continue to ask, "Why didn't you tell me?" This constant repetition serves not just to avoid responsibility but also to diminish your worth and emotions, making you feel like you're overreacting or that the blame is not entirely on them. This is how bad people try to control your emotions and thoughts. They want you to feel wrong or, at the very least, unsure about whether you have the right to judge them. This is an extremely toxic and sophisticated form of manipulation, where the truth is distorted in a way that makes you feel guilty for being hurt. They are attempting to undermine your reality, making you question your own perceptions and judgments. They want you to doubt yourself, to feel insecure and vulnerable, so that they can maintain their control. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of maintaining a strong spirit in such situations. The actions and words of bad people are things we cannot control, but we can control how we respond. When faced with situations where others deliberately hide or deny their mistakes, it is essential to stay calm and not let them affect your sense of self-worth. Do not allow their gaslighting to undermine your reality. Trust your instincts, and stand firm in your conviction that you have the right to be treated with respect and dignity. When bad people realize that you've seen through them, they will often do everything they can to avoid the truth. They are unwilling to take responsibility because doing so means facing the consequences of their harmful actions. Instead of honestly admitting their mistakes, they will play the role of the innocent, trying to justify that they didn't know their behavior caused harm. And when you confront them, they will try to twist and distort the truth to make you feel confused and unsure about your own experience. Such behavior is not only deceitful but also a sign of deep disrespect for you, a denial of the truth, and a devaluation of your emotions. These bad people know that once you start doubting yourself, they can continue acting without worrying about the consequences. They thrive in an environment of confusion and uncertainty, where they can manipulate others' perceptions and evade accountability. In facing this situation, the lesson from Stoic philosophy is invaluable. You don't need to change yourself or try to please such people. What's important is that you hold firm to your values and your belief in what is right. Don't let them make you doubt the truth. Self-control and steadfastness in spirit are what will help you overcome the challenges they pose. Remember that their feigned ignorance is not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their own moral bankruptcy. Do not allow their lies to become your truth. Ultimately, the ability to recognize and resist this tactic of feigned ignorance is crucial for protecting our emotional well-being and maintaining our sense of reality. By remaining grounded in truth, trusting our instincts, and refusing to be manipulated, we can navigate these challenging interactions with strength and resilience. Sign 7, the art of manipulation, controlling your actions and thoughts. Manipulation is a subtle and insidious form of control that erodes a person's autonomy and self-determination. It involves using deception, emotional ploys, and other underhanded tactics to influence another person's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. It's a power dynamic that creates an imbalance, where the manipulator benefits at the expense of the victim. If someone is manipulating you, they are trying to control how you act and strip away your ability to think independently. This tactic not only affects your relationship with them but also impacts your relationships with others and your mental health. It's a violation of your personal boundaries, an attempt to usurp your free will and turn you into a puppet. Manipulation is a subtle form of intrusion, not limited to overt deceptive actions but often hidden behind a facade of care and kindness. Manipulators use emotional tricks to control you, putting you in a vulnerable position and making it easier for them to dominate not just your thoughts but also your will and actions. They are skilled at exploiting your weaknesses, preying on your insecurities, and using your own emotions against you. This happens because manipulators often possess a high level of emotional intelligence, a powerful tool that helps them deeply understand others' emotions and thoughts. However, instead of using emotional intelligence to build healthy relationships, they exploit it as a psychological weapon to identify your weaknesses and take advantage of them. These could be your hidden anxieties, feelings of insecurity, or personal goals you pursue wholeheartedly. And from these vulnerabilities, the manipulator persuades you to give up what is important to you, gradually making you dependent on them. They weave a web of dependency, making you believe that you cannot survive without their guidance and support. Manipulation is not always easy to recognize. It can disguise itself in many forms, sometimes even as seemingly kind and helpful acts. You might find someone who is always ready to listen, understand, and appear deeply concerned about your emotions. However, if they don't truly intend to help you but instead aim to achieve something for themselves, these kinds of actions become a sophisticated manipulation tactic. This kind of help makes you feel indebted to them, leading you to believe they are the only person you can rely on, thus drawing you into their control without realizing it. They create a sense of obligation, making you feel that you owe them something in return for their kindness. This obligation then becomes a tool for manipulation, allowing them to control your actions and choices. When dealing with a manipulative person, it is crucial to establish firm boundaries and adhere to them consistently. Boundaries are not only a way to protect yourself from manipulative behavior but also a means to maintain your core values and personal autonomy. This means being self-aware, knowing your limits, and not allowing anyone to violate them. It requires a strong sense of self-worth and a willingness to assert your needs and desires. The manipulator, with a keen understanding of emotions, will try to bend your boundaries. They may convince you that giving up something small is no big deal and that you need to rely on them for safety or happiness. But in Stoic philosophy, true happiness does not come from external factors, it comes from inner control of the mind. When you allow someone to manipulate you, you are giving up your personal freedom and handing them the power to control your life. This is something a Stoic philosopher would never accept, as it goes against the principle of living freely and independently. One common manipulation tactic is making you feel dependent. The manipulator might convince you that you cannot handle problems on your own, that only they understand and can help you. But the truth is, once you fall into the trap of manipulation, you will gradually lose the ability to make decisions, become independent, and lose your self-confidence. They chip away at your self-reliance, making you feel increasingly helpless and incapable of managing your own life. Manipulators will continue to exploit you until you completely lose your sense of autonomy, becoming a part of their power game. They thrive on control, and they will stop at nothing to maintain their dominance. In this situation, escaping is not easy, but it is not impossible. Remember, manipulators will not give up easily, they will continue to find ways to keep you under control, using every trick to make you doubt your abilities and decisions. The important thing is to keep affirming yourself, Hold firm to the boundaries you've set, and not allow anyone to cross them. You cannot control the behavior of others, but you can control how you respond to them, and that is your true strength, a power no one can take away from you unless you allow them to. The key to resisting manipulation lies in self-awareness, assertiveness, and a strong commitment to your own values and principles. By recognizing the tactics of manipulation, setting clear boundaries, and maintaining your sense of self-worth, you can protect yourself from their harmful influence and reclaim your autonomy. Navigating malevolence with Stoic wisdom. We have explored 7 common behaviors of toxic individuals when they realize that you have uncovered their true nature. Through these signs, you can better understand the hidden intentions behind their outward appearances and protect yourself from negative influences. Stoic philosophy teaches us that maintaining calmness and self-control in all circumstances is the key to overcoming any challenge. No one can hurt us if we know how to protect our minds and our patience. Remember, toxic people will always try to control and manipulate you, but the real strength lies in not letting them affect your inner peace. By cultivating inner resilience, setting clear boundaries, and remaining grounded in reason and virtue, we can navigate the complexities of human interaction with strength, wisdom, and grace. The world is full of both light and darkness, and we must be prepared to confront both. By recognizing the signs of malevolence, we can protect ourselves from harm and contribute to a more virtuous and just world. But we must also remember that everyone is capable of change, and that even those who have caused us harm deserve compassion and understanding. Our goal should not be to condemn or punish, but rather to heal and to create a world where virtue and kindness prevail. Before we conclude, I have a question for you. How do you feel about the content of this video? 1. Strongly disagree. 2. Disagree. 3. Neutral. 4. Agree. 5. Strongly agree. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. Be sure to check out our latest videos displayed at the end of the screen. Let us continue on the path to greater wisdom and inner peace, together. Achieving true compliance requires careful planning and execution of the video content. Good luck.